In the fall of 1788, an overwhelming dread gripped the inhabitants of New England's countryside. Numerous farmers reported discovering their sheep and cattle dismembered during the night. This sinister activity was concentrated around the secluded town of Shadowbrook and the tranquil seaside hamlet of Tidewater. The local populace suspected that wolves had ventured south from the Canadian border, prompting them to form hunting parties. Yet, it soon became evident that the savage dismemberments were not the acts of wolves, but of a being with immense strength and viciousness. A lycanthrope had invaded the area. Initially, Shadowbrook's town elders dismissed the notion, reluctant to believe a mythical beast caused the spate of carnage. But everything changed on the night of November 10th. Scattered near their homestead on the outskirts of town, the Carpenter family's remains were found. The bodies of James, Ellen, Robert, Cynthia, and Daniela were mutilated to the point of being nearly unrecognizable. Panic quickly ensued, and the town's elders, now desperate, sought assistance from nearby towns and villages. It was now clear a werewolf had descended upon Shadowbrook. Within a few days, 4 strangers arrived in town. They vowed to slay the vile creature and save the town from destruction. For it is said, even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright.
Hello gamers, this is Keith and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight we'll be returning to the haunted town of Shadowbrook and another playthrough of A Touch of Evil, the Supernatural game. In this video, I'm going to preview a small variant that I produced for the game. Then we'll look at the villain that we'll be opposing and try to develop a strategy to defeat him. Finally, we'll take a closer look at the investigators and discover their strengths and weaknesses. And then we'll begin the playthrough. So without further ado, let's go to the table and get started. My tentative title for this variant is the Thematic Research variant. Instead of searching for clues about the whereabouts of the villain's lair, the investigators may also conduct research into the being's past. This action represents the investigators performing a detailed search into the lore and history of the villain, seeking to find a vulnerability that they might be able to exploit. For this variant, we're going to take advantage of a few of the extra tokens that are included in the game. One thing about Flying Frog that is absolutely great is they always include additional tokens that are really not used in the game. And this is for use by the players of the game to create variants, and that's what I'm going to do with these 3 tokens. These tokens show a piece of parchment on the front side, and on the reverse they have numbers, and that will end up being useful to us in this variant. During the setup, we're going to take the 3 parchment tokens, those with numbers 1, 2, and 3 on the reverse side, and we're going to randomize them. These are now called research tokens. We're going to draw a layer card and place the research token in that location. No location may ever contain more than 1 research token. So if a location is drawn that already has one, we're going to draw another card. During an investigator's take actions step, an investigator in a space with a research token may spend 1 investigation to attempt to uncover a piece of valuable information that can aid them in their quest to defeat the villain. This action may only be selected after the investigator has performed the mandatory Encounter the Space action. They're going to make a combined Cunning and Honor 6+ test. The Cunning portion represents the investigator's ability to piece together the clues, while the Honor portion represents the investigator's street smarts and their ability to interact with insiders. If the test scores 2 or more successes, the investigator may flip over the token to reveal the number. Then we're going to consult the research table for that villain, and we'll read the entry for that number on the token. This benefit cannot be traded to another investigator unless it is stated in the entry. Keep the token on the investigator's character sheet for future reference. If the test is failed, we're going to move the research token to a new random location. This represents the investigator following the clues and narrowing the search. As you saw in the prologue, we're going to be battling against the dreaded werewolf. And this is the custom research table that I've created for the werewolf. Eventually I'm planning on creating a table for each specific villain, and eventually when those are done I'll be posting those on the BGG site in the A Touch of Evil files section, and then anyone that wants to try this variant can. The 3 entries for the werewolf are: number 1, Pendant of Protection. Your research leads you to an old gypsy woman named Maliva. She gives you a medallion of protection. The pendant is made of pure silver, a ward against lycanthropes, and it is cast in the shape of a pentagram, the sign of the werewolf. For the remainder of the game, the investigator wearing the pendant of protection is immune to the werewolf's Curse of the Werewolf ability. You may give the pendant to another investigator as a part of an exchange items action. At number 2, we have Blessed Silver Shot. Silver is the bane of the werewolf, and this finely crafted ammunition functions exactly like the silver shot found in the town items deck. Silver shot may be only used while also using a gun item. Your fight dice rolls of 6+ count as 2 hits each, or 3 hits each against a werewolf. And finally we have number 3, Animal Traps. A werewolf is a beast, and as such it is driven only by instinct and not intelligence. When an investigator with animal traps is in a space with the werewolf, whether it is in combat with the creature or not, the werewolf loses its bestial speed ability during the first round of any combat or showdown fight round. In addition, during the first round, the investigator will resolve their combat before the werewolf gets to attack, as it is snared in the trap. Animal traps may only be used during the first round of a fight or showdown. And so I've randomly placed the research tokens by drawing 3 layer cards. And they ended up to be at the inn, on the Echo Lake board, the beach, and the shipwreck on the coast board. And we'll see how this variant works out. It's a small advantage to the players, and it will take some effort for them to uncover these things, but I think it's a nice way to bring a thematic element into specifically into the villain that you're battling. And this would be, thematic elements that are based on the lore and history of that particular creature. So we'll see how it works out. And now let's take a look at the werewolf, the villain that we are going to be opposing. He has the keywords villain, beast, and werewolf. He has a respectable combat level of 5 with 5 health. Now we're playing with 4 investigators, so his starting health will be 20. He has a special rule called Savage. The werewolf's brutal savagery is matched only by his hunger for fresh prey. The werewolf's fight dice rolls hit on a 4, 5, or 6 instead of the normal 5 or 6. And this ability is going to be further enhanced by some other advanced abilities that he has, namely bestial speed. During each fight round, the werewolf's attacks are resolved before the hero gets to attack. So that's going to be a great advantage for the werewolf, and particularly with our heroes that have, only 2 or 3 health boxes. As such, we have one, Lucy Handbrook, she only has 2. So she easily could be KO'd before she even gets a chance to respond, and we're going to have to take that into account. Another ability that the werewolf has is the Curse of the Werewolf. Any hero KO'd in a fight with the werewolf automatically scratched and must take a Curse of the Werewolf card. Now that Curse of the Werewolf card is pretty severe. At the start of each mystery phase, place a transformation marker on this card, unless you are KO'd. When there are 4 markers here, remove them and flip the card over. You have become a werewolf hero. Curses may be cured at the doctor's office or at the beach at the widow's cottage. Now when a hero becomes a werewolf hero, during his turn he'll act normally, but at the start of the mystery phase, you must automatically engage in a fight round with the nearest hero. If more than one are the same distance, you can choose the target. For this fight round, you have the keyword werewolf and may not use items, allies, or militia. You are +1 combat and hit on a 4, 5, or 6. So you have the same skills as the werewolf minion. Heroes you fight in the mystery phase gain 1 investigation for each wound that you do, and any hero you KO automatically gains the Curse of the Werewolf, which is not good. And the werewolf also has Children of the Night. Anytime a mystery card murder is played, roll a d6. On a roll of 4+, we're going to put a feral kin at the same random location as the investigation, so that's going to bring some of his minions on the board. Unfortunately, the werewolf has very few weaknesses. One of them is Trail of Death. Lair cards always cost 3 investigation, regardless of the current position of the shadow track. So that does give us the ability to more readily engage him in the showdown if we need to. So that's a good thing. He's also susceptible to Silver Shot, which is a town item that we can purchase. And that will give the individual with the Silver Shot and a gun the ability to cause 3 hits for every 6+ rolled during a fight. So that is pretty useful. The werewolf's minion chart consists of 2 events and 2 minions. The events are Terrorize, and that would discard the top card of each location deck, as well as the top card of the event deck, and the shadow track will move 1 step closer to darkness. This would represent the terror induced by the werewolf, and it would represent people leaving town and denying us access to some of those cards in the corner locations. The other one is a werewolf attack that occurs on a 5 or 6 result, and the villain will attack, and he's going to force us to fight a single round of combat if we're in that space. And we'll gain, though, a investigation for each of the hits that we take, that we deal out. Now his two minions are interesting. One of them is Feral Kin, and that's a minion, beast, and werewolf are the keywords. Has 3 fight dice, but only 1 health. And unfortunately it has the deadly ability, which it will also hit on a 4, 5, or 6. So they're very vicious, but not too resilient. We should be able to take them out quite quickly. The other one is a rat's nest, and this is a horde. When the rat's nest appears on the board, each turn rats will pour out of that nest, and they're going to form a chain from the location of the rat's nest heading towards either the town hall if on the Shadowbrook or Echo Lake boards, or on to the town square if on the coast board. Now rats are circular minions, so they don't inhibit our movement or anything, but they can cause us some problems. And they will possibly force us to discard an ally or take a wound on a specific dice roll if we're on the same space as one of the rats forming the chain. So our investigators definitely have their work cut out for them. Our lead investigator is Heinrich Cartwright, the Drifter. Now he has a special ability called Resourceful, and when drawing an event card, he can draw 2 and choose which one to keep. And that would allow us to cycle those event cards more quickly and gain some of the better cards. He's an outsider, so he's going to start the game at the crossroads space, and that'll give him access to the Echo Lake board and the coast board more quickly than some of the other heroes. He's blessed with 4 health boxes, and he has a pretty high spirit of 4. His cunning is 2, combat 2, and honor of 4. Now his upgrade is Drifter's Secret. That's going to give him +1 to spirit and +1 combat. And his Drifter's Secret is when KO'd, you no longer need to lose any items, allies, or investigation. So if he is KO'd, he won't be having to suffer the effects of the damage of being KO'd like a normal hero would be. Sometimes that gets to be quite severe if you have no investigation points and a plethora of items and allies. You can lose some very good cards very quickly. So that is our lead investigator, Heinrich Cartwright. Next up is Eliza the Witch Hunter. She has a spirit of 3, cunning 3, combat 2, and 2 honor. She also has 4 health boxes, which is outstanding. And her special abilities are interesting. She's a zealot. She can take a wound to gain +2 spirit, cunning, honor, or combat for a single test. Limit once per test. This may be assigned to militia. She also has the Inquisition ability. Anytime she reveals a town elder's secrets, she'll gain 4 investigation for every little secret or evil card revealed. Limit once per turn. She's a hunter. She gains +2 fight dice against any ghost, demon, or magic enemy. And unfortunately, against the werewolf, which has the keywords beast and werewolf, we won't be getting much action out of that hunter ability, but there could be other minions that will pop up. Now her upgrade is called Righteous Rage. Now that's going to give her an extra wound box that'll give her 5. And it says she gains +1 fight die for every holy item, ally, or oath that she has. So we'll have to work towards possibly acquiring some of those items with those keywords and to try to get her that upgrade. Incidentally, upgrades can be purchased by discarding 10 investigation and 1 event card. Next up, we have Liliana the Lost Soul. She has a spirit of 3, cunning 2, combat of 1, and 4 honor. She has 3 health boxes, and her special abilities include Shadow of the Past. May roll an extra fight die for each hit she does in a fight round, so that's pretty good. That can easily multiply with some good dice rolls, and she can become quite powerful. She's also spirited, and she always uses spirit in a fight, so we're going to have to work towards advancing her spirit ability. But she has one negative, and that's loss of faith, and she may not exchange items or allies with other heroes. And training spirit at the church requires an Honor 6+ test for her. Her upgrade is Haunted. It's going to gain her +1 to spirit, and at the start of each fight round, she can heal a wound, so that's a pretty valuable upgrade for her. And finally, we have Lucy Handbrook. Lucy has 3 spirit, 2 cunning, 2 combat, and an honor of 4. Now, she only has 2 health boxes, but she does have a special ability to help mitigate that. Now, she has the Handbrook ability. She's going to start the game at the manor. And when she's KO'd, she'll be placed at the manor instead of the town hall. She's going to begin the game with 4 investigation instead of the normal 2, which will be a great benefit. Her starting at the manor will give her quicker access to the secret passage to the monastery. Now, she is lucky. Once per fight round, she may force her opponent to re-roll one of its fight dice, and that can be helpful to mitigate the fact that she only has 2 health boxes. She's youthful, and she can heal 1 wound at the start of each of her turns, or showdown fight rounds. Now, her upgrade is Daughter of Shadowbrook. That's going to give her a +1 to combat and an extra wound box. And that allows her that all town items at the blacksmith in town cost you 1 investigation less than normal. So that's a pretty interesting upgrade for Lucy. So with that knowledge, we're going to have to attempt to try to prevent the werewolf and his curse of the werewolf ability. We don't want to be cursed. That curse of the werewolf can be extremely damaging to the investigator party, and that causes a lot of distractions to us. So we have to try to prevent that from happening. And I think the only way we can do that is to try to acquire items or upgrades that are going to give us extra health boxes and give us the ability to survive the first round of combat against this creature. It has that bestial speed, which allows it to attack and apply its hits first before we get a chance to respond. So we need enough health boxes to survive any initial strike, and then we could use the escape rules, of course, and try to heal up the characters before they would be KO'd. Well, let's begin the game, and we're going to start with our lead investigator, and that is Heinrich Cartwright, and he is at the crossroads. We'll make a movement roll for Heinrich and see how many movement points he gets. Now in this game, when we roll a 1, that entitles us to an event card draw. That represents the investigator taking extra time and carefully searching in the area that they are in. And that's how thematically how the event card draw comes up with a roll of 1. Here's the roll. The roll is a 1, so we have 1 movement point, and we'll have to decide what we're going to do with Heinrich. Now we'll make his event card draw. Now Heinrich has a special ability called Resourceful. It says when drawing an event card, you may draw 2 and choose which to keep, discarding the other. So we've drawn 2 cards, Shocking Discovery and Strength of Courage. Shocking Discovery, choose an elder with 1 or more unrevealed secrets. Reveal one of those secrets, gain 2 investigation if it's a little secret, or 4 if anything else. Or play to automatically collect an investigation in your space without having to make a test. All right, the other one is Strength of Courage. Play immediately, play this on any hero, and we would gain +1 honor, remains in play. And I think he's going to take the Strength of Courage card. We'll discard the Shocking Discovery. I don't like to reveal secrets unless we have the ability to mitigate that. So that one will be discarded. And we'll keep the Strength of Courage card. It's going to give +1 to honor. And Heinrich Cartwright already has an honor of 4, so that's pretty good. I think we'll give that card to Eliza. And that's going to boost her honor up from 2 up to 3. All right, now he has one movement point available. We have the option of either moving to the Old Woods or into the Echo Lake board. Now, consulting our Shadowbrook map reference and charts, we find out that the Old Woods focuses on spirit, combat, and magic. Heinrich Cartwright has a spirit of 4, so he would do pretty well there. His combat is only a 2, though, so it's kind of a risk. The other option would be to move on to the Echo Lake board, and that'll make it easier for us to reach some of those other locations. I think for the time being, I'm going to play this a little on the safe side, and we're going to move Heinrich one space onto the Echo Lake map. And that's going to bring Heinrich's turn to a close. We'll move on to Eliza the Witch Hunter. She's at the Town Hall. Eliza gained that Strength of Courage card, which gives her a +1 to honor, which is great. So we'll have Eliza roll for move. And she rolls a 3, so she's got 3 movement points available. We'll see what we're going to have Eliza do. Well, the 3 movement points won't allow her to reach any of the corner locations on the Shadowbrook board, so we'll have to decide what else we want to do. Eliza has a Spirit of 3 and Cunning of 3, so that's fairly decent. We could move her to the church or the magistrate's office, and she could attempt some training there. Or we can move her to the blacksmith, and she could spend some of her investigation that she has, and I think we'll do that. So we'll move Eliza one space into the blacksmith's shop, and she's going to encounter the space, and it allows her to draw an event card. She draws the event. I'll handle this. Play this card at the start of any fight round involving another hero, except a showdown. Remove that hero from the fight and move to their space, replacing them in the fight. Gain extra fight dice equal to your honor during this fight round. At the end of this fight, double any reward earned. Well, that's a good card. Now, we're playing with the team rules, by the way, and that allows us to have all of these event cards placed into a community pool, and any of the heroes can utilize those cards. So we'll place that in our community pool. And now Eliza is going to take advantage of the store ability, and she can buy town items from here. She's going to purchase a horse. That's going to give her +1 to movement, and that's going to cost her a total of 2 investigation. Every investigator starts with 2 investigation. With the exception of Lucy Hanbrook, she starts with 4. And that represents the hero's initial knowledge of the situation and friendships that they may have made with some of the local townspeople. So she's going to purchase the horse. That'll give her +1 to move as long as she has that horse. Incidentally, heroes are able to keep a total of 3 item cards or allies, and also 1 card from each of the corner locations. This is going to complete Eliza's turn, and we'll move on to Liliana, the Lost Soul. Liliana is at the Town Hall, and she's going to make a roll for move. And her roll is a 1, and that's going to entitle her to an event card draw. And she draws the event, Expand the Search. Play immediately. Place a militia marker at any 2 named locations on the board. Limit 1 militia marker per space. And the flavor text reads, Leave no stone unturned. All right, that is a great card. And we're able to place the 2 militias at any of the named locations. And I think we'll place them, one at the abandoned keep and another at the manor. And the reason I'm placing them there is those are secret passages, and we'll probably be utilizing those quite often. And having militia there would be a good way to help secure those locations. Now, Liliana has the ability of Spirited, and that says always use spirit in a fight. So it would be beneficial for us to raise her spirit if we can. Normally that can be done at the church, but she has a loss of faith, and she may not... Her training at the Spirit at the church requires an honor 6+ result, so that would be a little difficult for her. So I think instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'll do the same thing I did with Eliza, and she's going to move 1 space to the blacksmith's shop, and Once there, she can draw an event card. And she draws the event Party Invitation. Play immediately. Play this card on any hero. That hero may now carry one additional card from either the manor or windmill. Remains in play. Well, I think that would probably be best suited for Lucy Hanbrook. She would be, her center of operations is around the manor anyway, so I think we'll play that card on her. And now I think with the shop or the store ability at the blacksmith, Liliana's going to purchase a horse as well. It's going to cost her 2 investigation, and that's going to give her a +1 to move, so that's great. So that's going to end Liliana's turn, and I think we'll move on to Lucy Hanbrook, and she's currently at the manor. Now Lucy gained that party invitation, so that allows her to carry an additional card from either the manor or windmill, so we'll probably have her try to stay in that region. And we'll begin with a movement roll for Lucy. And she rolls a 4, so that's going to give her 4 movement points. Now, incidentally, we are able to remain in the same space that we start the turn in, but however, that means we have to undergo what's called a lingering test. We would roll a d6, and on a result of 1, we have to make a roll on the villain's minion chart and resolve what happens. So we don't want to linger unless we have to. So I think with the 4 movement points, we're going to have Lucy move to the windmill, and she'll check out what's happening there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Lucy arrives at the windmill. So Lucy is at the windmill, and she's going to encounter the space, and we're going to draw a windmill card and see what we find. She draws the card Voices of the Dark. Investigation, danger. The whispering voices get louder as you push further into the darkness. They know you're here. They know your name. They want you to join them forever. Make a Spirit 5+ test and gain 3 investigation for every 5+ rolled. If you fail, you are consumed by the darkness and KO'd. Oh boy, that is not good. Lucy has a spirit value of 3, so that'll entitle her to roll 3 dice. And she's looking for 5 or greater, otherwise she's going to be KO'd. Here's the roll. And she's done it. She's got 3 successes, 3 5s. That's going to earn her 9 investigation. Outstanding. And that's going to move Lucy up to a total of 13 investigation, which is awesome. We actually have enough to purchase her upgrade if we choose, but in addition to the cost of 10 investigation, we also have to discard an event card. And I really don't want to discard that I'll handle this event. That's a pretty powerful card. So we'll wait till we get something that is less desirable for us. So that is going to complete Lucy Hanbrook's turn. And we're going to move on now to the mystery phase. Now, during the mystery phase, the lead investigator is the hero that will be resolving that. So if anything applies to a hero, it will be centered upon the lead investigator, which is Heinrich Cartwright. And we're going to begin by rolling on the cooperative mystery phase chart. And incidentally, I should say that I am working on a more advanced cooperative mystery phase chart, if you will. Right now, we've only got the results 2 to 12 on this chart. I was thinking on expanding that maybe a little bit and getting a little more variety into this. I haven't completed this yet, but I am working on that. And if I have any results in my efforts, I will share them on the channel. For right now, we're going to use the standard advanced cooperative mystery phase chart. We're going to roll 2d6 and see what happens. Here's the roll. The result is an 8, and that's murder. Murder! Draw a random location and place 3 investigation there. Move the shadow track 1 step closer to darkness. This counts as though the mystery card murder had been played for villain abilities. All right. And this will have an impact on us because the werewolf has the Children of the Night ability. Anytime the mystery card murder is played, roll a d6. On a roll of 4+, put a feral kin at the same random location as the investigation. All right, we're going to draw a layer card and see where this happens. And the murder occurs at the stone bridge that is on the coast board. So we are going to place a total of 3 investigation at the location, and then we're going to make a d6 roll and see if a feral kin will appear as well. We'll make the roll now, and we're looking for a result of 4+, and that will place a feral kin there. The roll is a 5, so a feral kin will appear at the stone bridge. So the first minion appears on the board. The feral kin arrives at the stone bridge, and there's 3 investigation there. And our next step is to draw a mystery card. And the card is revealed to be the Devil's Mark, Mystery Curse. This card plays on the hero that drew it. In this case, it's going to be Heinrich Cartwright. He is the lead investigator during the mystery phase. It's going to be -1 to his cunning. It's going to lower his cunning down to 1. And that card remains in play until we can cancel it. And that is going to complete our first round, and we'll move our first player marker from Heinrich Cartwright to Eliza, the witch hunter, and she'll begin the next round. And incidentally, our shadow track moved down 1 space due to the mystery phase chart roll, and we're now currently at 19. Eliza will be our lead investigator for the turn. She's currently at the blacksmith, and she'll roll for move. Her roll is a 2, so she has 2 movement points, plus she gains 1 for her horse, so it'll give her a total of 3 movement points. And let's see where she's going to move to. I think we'll send her to the windmill. She can reach that. So she'll move 1, 2, and 3 up to the windmill, and she'll join Lucy Hanbrook. And she's going to encounter the space. We'll draw a windmill card. And she draws the card Dripping from Above, Investigation. Drops of cold black liquid hit your hand and sleeve from above. Touching it with your fingers, it smears dark crimson. With a sense of dread, you slowly cast your gaze upward. Make a cunning 5+ test. If successful, gain a random hunting gear card or random town item if not using an epic villain. If failed, draw an epic villain encounter or mystery card if not using the epic villain. Well, we're not using the epic villain. So we're going to make a cunning 5+ test. Her cunning currently is at 3. So Eliza will be rolling 3 dice for the test, and we're looking for 5+. Here's the roll. And she has 2 successes. That's outstanding. And that's going to allow her to draw a random town item. So let's randomize the town items deck and see what we find. And the random town item is revealed to be a charmed relic with a value of 3. Town, item, and ward. Once per game, when you draw a card from a corner location deck, you may discard it and draw again. After each use, roll a d6. On a roll of 1, discard this item. And the flavor text reads, "Found this just outside of town, near the old keep." All right, so we'll add that to her tableau of cards. And that's Eliza's second card. She can get 1 more town item and still maintain enough space to keep a card from each of the corner locations. That's going to finish Eliza's turn, and we'll move on now to Liliana. She is at the blacksmith. Liliana acquired a horse during the last turn, so she's also going to gain a +1 to move. And here's Liliana's movement roll. She rolls a 3, and that's modified to a 4, so she'll have a total of 4 movement points for this turn. And I think she's going to travel to the manor. We have a squad of militia up there to help us, and I think that's a good spot. So she'll move 1, 2, 3, 4 to the manor. Those horses really help. It gives you that extra little bit of movement that sometimes you need, is the difference between being on a road space or actually at a corner location. So we're at the manor. And Liliana's going to encounter the space. We'll draw a manor card. And she draws the card Skeleton Key, item key. Draw a random location for this key. While at the location, you may discard this key as an action to gain D6 investigation, or discard this key as an action to immediately move to and encounter any namespace on the board. All right, we'll draw a layer card and see where that key is active. And we find out that the key will work at the doctor's office. So we'll keep those two cards together for Liliana, and we'll see what she wants to do. And that's going to bring Liliana's turn to a close. We'll move on to Lucy Hanbrook, and she's currently at the windmill. And we'll have Lucy roll for movement. Whoops. And she rolls a 5, so Lucy's got 5 movement points. And I think we'll have her head back to the manor. She'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, joining Liliana at the manor. And there's no minions to fight there, so we're going to encounter the space. And she draws the card Book of Medicine, item book Science. At the end of each of your turns, you may choose one hero in your space, including yourself, and make a Cunning 5+ test. For each roll of 5 or 6, heal 1 wound from that hero. This may also be used at the start of each showdown fight round. That is a great card. And we'll add that to Lucy Hanbrook's tableau. And that's going to complete Lucy's turn. We'll move on to Heinrich Cartwright. He's currently on the road space to the east of the crossroads. Now last turn, Heinrich picked up that Devil's Mark. That lowers his cunning by 1. He's down to 1 cunning. So we'll have him make his roll for movement. And here's Heinrich's move roll. And he rolls a 5, so he's got 5 movement points. That's great. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to have Heinrich move to the inn. It's a pretty good spot. We have one of our research tokens there. And as well, the inn allows us to gain 2 investigation or heal a wound before we encounter the space. So that's a pretty good space. So Heinrich is going to make his move. 1 into the bog. That allows him to collect 1 investigation. 2 to the road space, and 3 into the inn. All right. So he's going to encounter the space. We can't do any research until we have performed the mandatory encounter the space action. So reading the information at the end, it says before encountering, gain 2 investigation or heal a wound. Well, we're going to have him gain 2 investigation, and that's going to bring Heinrich up to a total of 5 investigation, which is great. And now we're going to draw a card from the inn deck. And that card is revealed to be Gremlins, Minion Imp. They have 2 fight dice and 2 wound capacity. You may not escape. Gremlins can only be hit on a roll of 6 instead of the normal 5 or 6. If defeated, gain 4 investigation. The flavor text reads, hard to find, harder to lose. All right, so we're going to have our first fight of the game. So the Gremlins have 2 fight dice, and so does Heinrich. He has a combat value of 2. Now he's only going to be able to hit these things on a 6, so we need some luck here. Here's the first round of combat. And no one has any hits during the first round. 2 and a 3 for the Gremlins, and a 4 and a 2 for us. So we can't escape, so we have to just keep fighting along. And we'll make it the roll for the second round. Here's the roll. That time the Gremlins hit Heinrich, and he's going to take a wound. Oh! So we'll mark him with a wound. And he has a wound capacity of 4, so he's down to 3 wounds. And he has no option. He's got to keep fighting, so he'll make the roll for the next round. That time he's got a hit. He's got a 6, and that's going to deal a hit to the Gremlins. So each of them have a hit now. And we'll continue on. The next round of combat. And he's done it. He's got 2 hits. That would be enough to take out the Gremlins. They would have a total of 3 wounds, and their wound capacity is only 2. So he has defeated the Gremlins. He's taken 1 wound in the process, but he'll gain 4 investigation, and that's going to move him up to a total of 9 investigation. That's outstanding. So we've got our first victory of the game. Great job by Heinrich Cartwright in dispatching the Gremlins. All right, we are in a space with a research token. And I think it's worthwhile for us to try it. So Heinrich is going to spend 1 investigation, and he's going to do a combined honor and cunning test. And if he can produce 2 or more successes, we'll be able to reveal that token and find out what we find. So he has a cunning value of only 1, though, because of the devil's marker that is against him. But he does have 4 honor, so he'll be rolling a total of 5 dice. And if he can get 2 6s, we will have performed the research against the werewolf. So we're going to roll 5 dice. Now, in the event we fail this and we don't get the proper number of successes, that token is going to move to another location, and that represents that the investigator is on the trail of locating a series of clues to try to solve that part of the mystery. So here's the roll. We're looking for 2 6s at least. And he's done it. He's got 2 6s. So we've spent the 1 investigation, and we find out that this research is research number 1. And the research for number 1 is Pendant of Protection. Your research leads you to an old gypsy woman named Maliba. She gives you a medallion of protection. The pendant is made of pure silver, a ward against the lycanthrope, and is cast in the shape of a pentagram, the sign of the werewolf. For the remainder of the game, the investigator wearing the pendant of protection is immune to the werewolf's curse of the werewolf ability. You may give the pendant to another investigator as a part of an exchange items action. That is great. So we're going to keep this token on his card, and that is going to equate to the pendant of protection. Incidentally, I think what I'm going to be doing is, once all of these sheets are complete for each of the different villains, I'm going to produce a set of tokens for these different types of items, like in this case the pendant of protection, blessed silver shot, or animal traps. We'll have a little graphic on there, and then a small description of what it does. And I think that might be kind of nice and thematic for the game. So that is going to bring Heinrich's turn to a close, unless he wants to investigate any of the elders, and I don't think we're going to do that at this point. So I think we'll end the turn and we'll move on to the mystery phase. That's going to be performed by Eliza. And we'll begin with the Advanced Cooperative Mystery Phase chart roll. And here is the roll. We rolled a 6. It's revealed to be March of Darkness. Every minion on the board immediately moves 2 spaces along the shortest path towards the town hall or town square. If there are no minions on the board, instead roll once on the villain's minion chart, re-rolling event results, and place the minion at 2 random locations. Well, we do have a minion on the board, and that is on the coast board, so we'll move over there and see what's happening. There's a feral kin at the stone bridge, and that's going to move 2 spaces towards the town square. When you're on the coast board, any activity that calls for the town hall is instead replaced with the town square. If you're on the Echo Lake board or the Shadowbrook board, that will always move towards the town hall. So the feral kin is going to move 2 spaces towards the town square. So it's going to move into the barracks area. All right. And now Eliza is going to draw the mystery card. And she draws the card, the Dark Omen. Mystery Omen. Discard the top 2 cards from each location deck. Move the shadow track 2 steps closer to darkness. Each hero gains 3 investigation. All right, so we got a little benefit out of it, but we're going to lose 2 cards from every location deck. And the shadow track will move 2 steps. So that's going to move the shadow track down to 17, almost crossing into the next stage. All the investigators will gain 3 investigation, and then we're going to have to discard the top 2 cards from every deck. And that's going to bring this round to a close, and we'll move the first player marker from Eliza to Liliana. And I think I'm going to bring this video to a close. A big thank you to everyone for watching, and I hope you're enjoying this playthrough of A Touch of Evil 10-year anniversary edition. If you're new to the channel, warm welcome to you, and I invite you to have a look around the channel. I have different variety of different games that I've covered, and the channel's dedicated to promoting solo gaming and to show people that solitaire gaming can be a very rewarding hobby. So, until next time, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.